Hello and welcome back to Dukes on Twitch. Back with Green White Black Maverick, doing a deck tech today just before we go into a league. Just to run through some of my card choices and how I think Green White Black Maverick should kind of be built right now. So first off, we have our sort of silver bullet targets for Knight of the Reliquary in Gaea's Cradle, Karakas, Nurturing Peatland, Rishadan Port, and then 3 Wastelands. Because of the Ren meta, I'm pretty happy to have that Rishadan Port in the deck over the Wasteland, number 4. Port comes in really handy against the Zenith decks, the decks that are relying on basics, such as Miracles and Blue-White Stoneblade. So it gives us an action to actually be able to disrupt their mana, even though they're on basic lands. It also allows us to have a turn 2 play, and it is a piece of disruption that also allows us just to sort of curve out nicely. So sometimes if you wasteland your opponent, if you don't really think it through, you can put yourself on the back foot a lot more than you're actually hindering your opponent. So having the port in the deck has been really nice. Even little things like targeting a Thespian stage can force an interaction that might favor you, whereas they might want to keep the stage for kind of activating in your end step. So that's kind of the thought process there. The Nurturing Peatland is there over Horizon Canopy because I want the extra black mana. We are running 2 Abrupt Decays in the main deck, and then also want access to early Plague Engineers, Thoughtseize, and Vraska post boards. So the Nurturing Peatland is just a really nice green-black source of mana that can also cast my turn 1 mana dorks, but yeah, also just be an extra sort of access to black. The double Bayou over double Savannah is also due to just wanting more black sources in the deck. Because they are susceptible to Wasteland, we are prone to actually losing the ability to cast black mana spells, so pretty happy to have the 3 sources there. And then also Birds of Paradise, of course. So our coloured mana is 4 Windswept Heath, 4 Verdant Catacombs, 2 Plains, 2 Forest, Savannah, Scrubland, and 2 Bayous. I was thinking about cutting up the Verdant Catacombs into Misty Rainforests and Wooded Foothills. However, that does play well around something like Sorcerer's Spyglass or Pithing Needle, although a very small situation. The Verdant Catacombs can fetch up Scrubland, which the other lands can't, so that's why I'm pretty happy just to play the full 8 fetches that can actually get all of my jewels and then, you know, basics. So Windswept Heath getting both basics, Verdant Catacombs getting Forest, and also Dryad Arbor is a big one. Nobles and birds are pretty susceptible to Ren as well, but I've just dropped down on the 4th Noble to make way for the Birds of Paradise. So bird's really nice as well, just as a way to actually be able to Green Sun Zenith for a mana dork that can make black mana, but also be able to block something like a Delver or Dark Depths token with Giver of Runes out, which is really nice. Onto kind of the Death and Taxes style part of the deck, we have 3 Giver of Runes, 3 Thalias, and 2 Sanctum Prelates. The Prelates aren't really something you see main deck, but I think they're really good against combo, and something that this deck has a pretty soft spot for game 1. The 3 Thalias are there because I don't want to be drawing multiples, and the Prelates and Gaddock Teeg kind of act like Thalia number 4, especially with the Noble Hierarchs and acceleration through our mana dorks, and then also Green Sun Zenith. Being able to find Gaddock Teeg is really useful. The 3 Givers, I've actually dropped 1 for a Sylvan Safekeeper. I really wanted a protection spell that came off Green Sun Zenith, whereas, you know, Mother of Runes and Giver you can't find off Green Sun Zenith. We're not running the Stoneforge Mystic package, which I don't actually think is that great right now. I think that Stoneforge is really just an equipment fetcher if you're not playing Batterskull. It's not really seen as a threat. So I'd much rather have the space for 2 Sylvan Libraries, just to be able to find a bit more consistency in the deck from game to game. And we don't really have to rely on equipment to get through damage or get through other creatures, which is great. So I've actually dropped that totally and added a main deck Collector Ouphe. So that's going to give us a really nice game 1 against decks like Khan, Death and Taxes, the Stoneblade decks. So really keen to see how Collector Ouphe goes. It's all just a 2-2 for 2, which is kind of nice. It's a body that isn't hated out by a lot of the neg 1 effects right now. We also have Scryb Ranger, which works really well with Knight of the Reliquary and Giver of Runes. We have Scavenging Ooze, Gaddock Teeg, Qasali Pridemage, Ramunap, and Questing Beast. Questing Beast probably still to show it's still got a way to go to show itself as kind of a true contender for the main deck, but I've really enjoyed having it in the deck. It's great against a lot of the sort of Snapcaster Mage, Baleful Strix, Trinium Nemesis, Mentor decks right now. Not much can block it outside of Gurmag Angler and opposing Knights. Tarmogoyf is a bit of a threat, but that is one of the reasons why I've added in the 2 Abrupt Decays to the main deck as well for extra removal. I've also gone with Qasali Pridemage over Knight of Autumn in the board because Pridemage can act at instant speed. So although we have Collector Ouphe, I still want to be able to destroy things in my opponent's turn. So I have gone with Qasali. The other reason is that Exalted is actually really good right now. And just making sure that my creatures are bigger than my opponents is pretty good. For non-creature spells, we have 4 Swords to Plowshares, 2 Abrupt Decays, 2 Sylvan Library, and 4 Green Sun Zenith. The 4 Zenith and 2 Library are really just for consistency reasons. Just making sure that in a deck that doesn't run Ponder or Brainstorm, we're able to draw an opening hand and then quickly sort of shift and pivot towards what we're actually playing against. So if we're playing against Storm and we keep a hand with Abrupt Decay and Swords to Plowshares, we can hopefully use these cards to pivot towards Gaddock Teeg or Thalia. As well as if we open up a Thalia and Gaddock Teeg hand against Death and Taxes, we can hopefully use Green Sun Zenith and Sylvan Library quite aggressively to shift those, sort of shift the hand towards more removal or bigger creatures. And then just for Knight's, you know, the heart of the deck, other than Green Sun Zenith. Shout out to the greensunzenith.com.au. Not .au, greensunzenith.com. Always saying AU. But yeah, Knight's just tremendous in this deck. Not only as a big beater, but also just finding these one-off lands when we really need them at crucial times. To the sideboard, playing Engineer is here just for the go-wide strategies that Maverick sometimes has an issue against. Also hitting Trinium Nemesis is a big plus. Playing Engineer for the grindy matchups where I want that extra card draw is pretty crucial. It works really nice with Sylvan Library where we can actually set up what card we're drawing in the end step. Most likely trying to draw into like an instant Swords to Plowshares or something like that. Veil of Summer and Thoughtseize for the combo matchups. Thoughtseize is really good against the artifact decks as well. So your Stoneblade decks. Decks that really rely on 1 or 2 cards to go off. Whereas Veil of Summer is more a reactive spell. So protecting ourselves from some sort of hand disruption or things like Ad Nauseam Tendrils. I've been a big fan of Surgical and Ferromacabre in this deck, but I'm going to try out Leylines for once. I think Leyline's a great way to play around things like Chancellor, play around removal like Shenanigans or Ancient Grudge. So Leyline is just, I think, a really good card, especially with the London Mulligan. We can aggressively mulligan for the Leyline and still have a hand that's going to do something. I think before the London Mulligan, too many players mulliganed away good hands that didn't have Leyline in it and kept bad hands that had Leyline in it. So Leyline's going to be interesting. We then have a Knight of Autumn for just an extra sort of Swiss Army knife ability. 2 Council's Judgment, mainly for Planeswalkers and for True Name Nemesis. And then a Vraska. So Vraska is a pretty cool card. Its Neg 3 is an Abrupt Decay on a stick. So I was going to play an extra Abrupt Decay in the board or something like an Assassin's Trophy, but I kind of wanted to try out a Planeswalker that was really good against sort of the mid-range decks as well. So Vraska got that spot. That's the deck tech. So we'll see how this goes in a league. Hopefully see you guys in game 1. Yeah, if you like Maverick, definitely check out the greensunzenith.com. It's a platform pretty much made for Legacy Maverick, with actually a few new pieces on green-white depths as well, as that deck has sort of come out of the woodwork. So definitely check it out. We'll see you in game 1. Thanks.